Hey house guests, welcome to today's Big Brother 16 updates and spoilers. We have 3 house guests of the day, Samurai 8, Misty M, and Justin Matthews. So Samurai 8 has been watching forever and wants to know which is better, this season or last season. They don't really rank up on my favorite seasons list, but I can't really decide between this season and last season. Like I said yesterday, this season, I like that they don't have all the racist controversy and stuff, but last season seemed a little more exciting to me. I don't know. Misty M, hi! And Justin Matthews, also been watching forever and just auditioned for Big Brother Canada. Excellent. And he's also from Newfoundland, so are you a goofy newfie? Alright, so let's talk about yesterday. Now, I got some confusing stuff coming up, so I really wish I had my whiteboard right now to make some flowcharts. But first, Cody brought Caleb into the rock room, and Cody was like, Caleb, we can't trust Frankie anymore. He's shifty, he's telling Christine things, and I think that they're definitely aligned, and it's not cool. So then Caleb was talking to Frankie and Derek in the backyard, and this is where it gets a little confusing. Caleb says that Christine was asking Cody why he, Caleb, is assuming that Frankie would put up Cody and Caleb if he won the HOH. Did you guys get that? And apparently Christine was also like, why isn't he gonna go after Derek and me? What are we, chopped liver? So Frankie is pissed when he hears this because he's like, yeah, Christine is trying to distance herself from me, blah, 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 blah. It's not cool. She's trying to say that, that I'm not working with her. So Frankie also is like, I'm not sure that I can trust Cody. I think Cody is with Christine. So he also thinks that Cody is trying to play all the guys against each other. He's trying to create that wedge with Christine. Meanwhile, speak of the devil, Christine and Cody are chatting in the bathroom, and they're all like, yeah, we're safe with each other. Frankie has to go. And they're frustrated. No, Christine is frustrated that everyone thinks that she's working with Frankie. She says that she's been avoiding him on purpose, and it sucks. So she also says, Cody, I swear, if I win HOH, I'm nominating Caleb and Frankie. And he's just like, yes. So let's go back to Derek, Frankie, and Caleb. They have their own ideas of what Christine should do if she wins the HOH competition. So they want to try to convince Christine to put up Victoria with one of their own, and then they'll just vote out Victoria. Number 1, I don't see that working. Number 2, even if she did nominate Victoria with one of the guys, I could see Derek flipping the vote to save his precious goat Victoria. So Frankie says that if Christine nominates him like that during the double eviction, he is going to rip her apart in his eviction speech. He's gonna tear her up so bad that she's gonna be afraid to leave the house. And he has said this more than once. He said this again today. He was like, yeah, I'm gonna tell everyone, like, if we didn't know that you were a cheater before, we all know now. Yeah. So there's been a lot of talk lately about Christine and Cody's relationship, or as I like to call it, relationship. So Caleb talks to the camera and says, Tim, just sign the divorce papers. They're in love, baby, and there ain't nothing nobody can do. Ouch! I don't think that was cool for Caleb to say. That was pretty messed up. So Caleb continues, you don't see Victoria wearing Derek's ring, playing pool, and walking around the backyard wearing his ring. Whoa. I did not realize that Christine lets Cody wear her wedding ring. That is so messed up. I'm not saying that Caleb should be speaking to Tim directly that way, but it's definitely messed up that Christine is letting Cody wear her wedding ring. So it appears that there was a banner plane flying around in the area yesterday. The house guests were on an indoor lockdown for most of the day, and I don't think they actually saw the plane, but some people who live in the area around the house were tweeting pictures of it, and apparently the message said, Derek, Frankie are America's saboteurs, or saboteurs. I never know how to say that. Derek, Frankie are America's saboteurs. So that would be pretty scandalous if they did see it, but I think they were already inside by the time that it was flying around. Ooh. So you just touched your knee and your foot. So the house guests they're locked up. They're feeling desperate for the backyard and some beers. Sorry. So let's jump back to Christine for a hot second. I've heard her say this multiple times, how she's hoping that her husband is getting a lot of followers from this whole experience. That's what he wanted all along. And I'm thinking, ugh, is there anyone left who's not in this for the fame? It's ridiculous. And is the Cody thing to get followers for Tim? I don't know. But let's go back to the backyard. They reopened it a little after 8:30 p.m. last night. Everyone was just like, yeah. So Christine is continuing on her I'm not working with Frankie PR tour. So she was venting to Victoria about Frankie, and this is hilarious. She was so pissed because apparently Frankie asked her out on a cereal date, and she doesn't want to be alone with him. So Victoria had one of the lines of the week. It was just great. Victoria said, "I can't believe he had the balls to ask you that at this point in the game." Really? Over a cereal date? So they agree that they both think that he's in trouble and he knows it, and that's why he's freaking out. And I think that that's true. So Frankie, there's a lot of tension between Frankie and Cody right now. So Frankie pulls Cody into the storage room and he's like, "Are you concerned that I'm going to put you up on the block?" And Cody says, "What? No? Is that coming from Caleb?" And Frankie's like, "Yes." So they pretty much, I guess, clear things up, and or so they say. They confirm that they want to still go to the Final Four with Caleb and Derek, the four guys. And they're like, yeah, Christine and Victoria have to go. And then Frankie kind of shows his cards a little bit, because he calls Derek the male Victoria. And then he's like, "Don't tell him I said that." And then he's like, "It's true. It's not true. I didn't say that." Ugh. So if you think about it, it kind of is true, because Derek doesn't really win that many competitions, and a lot of people are thinking about bringing him to the end because they think that they could beat him. So that is kind of like Victoria's strategy. So, I mean, he said it. So Christine was chatting with Derek outside last night. Oh, my eyes are so watery. And she was expressing her dislike of Frankie. She threw him under the bus. She was like, "He sucks. He was being a jerk when I was trying to treat Nicole like a human." And she's just trying so hard to distance herself from him. And I don't think it's working. So last night, Caleb and Frankie had a strategy chat in the HOH room. And Frankie was like, "I want to say, I'm definitely trusting the guys until the Final Four." But it sounds like they are starting to catch on to Derek's strategy. Caleb is like, "Yeah, me too, but Derek is like the weakest guy in the group, and I think everyone wants to take him to the end." And Frankie's like, "Yeah, totally, like, he's definitely positioned himself that way, and everyone thinks that they're gonna beat him." And I'm like, oh snap. I mentioned this a few times before. I know everyone on the outside is like, "Oh, Derek has to win, like, he's gonna win if he's in the final two." But it sounds like he could be playing it too safe. You know, he's been putting off a lot of big moves this season, and it seems like a lot of these players have more respect for someone who is winning competitions, who's making game moves, and I think Derek's strategy is going way over their heads. So I don't know if they're going to realize when it comes to the voting the kind of game that he's played, or if they're gonna, you know, vote for someone like Cody, who's won a bunch of competitions and made moves, if you can call it that. So I don't know. It's maybe not looking as good for Derek as we thought it was. So Caleb, little side note on Caleb, he actually thinks that he is still going on a cruise with Amber. He's already like planning this date. It's like a 5 day long date or whatever. Like, he doesn't just go on first dates. He goes on like first date cruises, and he thinks that he's got that chance with Amber. Okay, so moving on, Frankie was digging for some info on the whole backdoor plan that never was this week. So Caleb explains to him it all started when they were trying to save Donnie, and Frankie was blaming the whole thing on Caleb. And then they were like, yeah, we were also weirded out because we thought that you had a Final 2 deal with Christine. And Frankie's like, well, was it Cody? Is Cody the one that was suggesting this? Blah, blah, blah. And Caleb is just like, I don't remember. Really? So, yeah, I don't think that's a good sign. So Caleb is then talking about his future plans for the next few weeks. He's like, yeah, once we get to that Final 5 HOH, I'm going to throw that competition. And his reasoning is that he thinks that everyone is going to go ahead and get rid of Victoria, including Derek. He says, oh, Derek told me that he's happy with second place, so he's not going to drag Victoria to the end. Ah! You really believe that Derek is happy with second place? So many people say that, and it's such a joke. So Frankie's like, are you kidding me right now? You cannot throw competitions at this point in the game. That's ridiculous. Don't do that. So let's move on and talk about this morning. Nicole, she knows she's going home. So she's out in the backyard with Derek, and she tells him what's up. She's like, guess what? This is the way that I see things going on here. She's like, Caleb is Frankie's puppet. You, Derek, have control over Victoria. No one is willing to make game moves for themselves. Then she's like, Derek, everything I tell you seems to get back to Cody. What's the deal? And she's like, I don't even know if you tried to save me this week for real or if you're just telling me that. So Derek goes, look at me. Look at me. I am the captain now. No. But he did say, look at me. You are going to look really dumb on camera if you really think that. He says, I expect a text message apology from you after the show's over, after you watch the show back, because you're so wrong about 90% of the things that you just said. What? Nicole pretty much nailed everything, and he has the gall to guilt trip her and be like, I expect a text apology. Crazy. So Nicole starts freaking crying, and she is like, I trusted you, and there has to be some sort of tight bond or like Final 4 alliance that's keeping people from making their own moves. Nicole, you have been told so many times by multiple people about the alliances in this game, and she still does not want to believe it. I just don't understand why people are getting this information and just completely disregarding it. So like, yeah, she does believe that there's some sort of alliance, but come on. So it took a while. So Derek's like, nope, that's not the case. There's no Final 4, blah, blah, blah. So then he is really working for that jury vote. He's like, Nicole, I want my daughter to grow up and be just like you. So then Nicole freaking apologizes to Derek for hurting his feelings. Oh my gosh. All right. So on a brighter note, for the house guests, have-nots ending today. Big Brother was having all the house guests take all of their belongings out of the have-not room because they're going to be closing that up. I don't know if they're going to do something with that for fun or like a punishment or what, but you know how they usually just like close it off? So they're doing that. Also, there was an announcement that the house guests have to pick a meal to be delivered by 2 p.m. Ah! So they all decide that they want In-N-Out burgers. There was lots of food for everyone, and it was all, oh, this is so good. Yeah, they all stuffed their faces. So Caleb, let's talk about important stuff. This is a very important conversation. Caleb was talking to Cody, I think he was up in the HOH room, yeah, and he was telling him how he spilled the beans to Frankie about the backdoor plan more last night before bed. So Cody's like, Oh my god. He said that Frankie is gonna be crazy paranoid now, and he said if he wins HOH in the double eviction, he's for sure putting Frankie up on the block. And Caleb's like, well, if you do that, you have to put up Christine next to him. Why? I don't know, but just at that point, Frankie comes upstairs. That's the end of that conversation, and it moves on to how Frankie is capturing and sharing light. What the F ever? I can't. So that's it for today. Let me know what you guys think. It looks like it's the beginning of the implosion of the bomb squad / detonators. So I think this double eviction should be very interesting tomorrow. And until then, much love.
Edit.